Boom. 52 plus people. Cool.
Good evening. You're listening to Luxury Aesthetics Online. I'm DJ Non, and tonight we have got Groovy Kaiju in the booth.
Yo,
and what would you have me call you actually? Do you want me to call you Kaiju, Groovy? You just Aaron?
So DS Dude 500 is my roommate. He actually calls me Groovy IRL. My real name is Aaron. So whichever. Oh, my phone! The back is my bag. But yeah, no so worries. Either Groovy or Aaron, either one, both work.
All right. I'll just do whatever I feel then. Yeah, so cool. Groovy Kaiju makes future funk, as you might be able to guess by the, you got the groovy part and the kind of Japanese culture part with the kaiju there. It's pretty well tied in, I think, to the music. Especially you do such a great job with your covers and like the albums and stuff. It's all like kaiju themed. It's a lot of fun just to go even just look at your page on Bandcamp.
Yeah, thank you.
And so the quick backstory behind why it's Groovy Kaiju this month is I just always end up tuning into his live sets on all these URL shows we've been having. And, he just is always so full of energy and charismatic. Just when he's performing URL, I was like, man, I got to get this guy on my show. So here we are with Groovy Kaiju. He's got a spectacular luxury mix. This one is a little more classic style. The older luxury mixes were I'd have someone send me the tracks and then I'd mix them together. Lately, people have just been mixing them on their own, but this time we've got that DJ Non mix of these tracks. These are I pretty much just asked him to put in tracks that inspired him, his work. So we're gonna get some of his favorite tunes, some of his inspirations, stuff like that. We're going to be starting off with a track by Vanilla called Swept Away. Why don't you tell us a little bit about why you picked this track?
Yeah, definitely. So the reason why I picked it was because one thing about me is when I was like 14-ish, I just spent a lot of time just going through Bandcamp to find new music. Like I would actively set like maybe like a few hours a week to find new music. And I found Vanilla through that. And they were one of the reasons why I started making music, period. Just because it was like, I didn't know you can invoke such feeling from like just making beats, you know what I mean? And like instrumental tracks. So I wanted to, I guess, shout out Vanilla first as like one of my very first musical inspirations, and like they're just a dope artist. So I chose this one.
And what a coincidence! Alex from Pacific Plaza just said he just discovered Vanilla today.
Yeah.
Well, I guess a couple more people might discover him right now as we get in here with Swept Away.
Lost, dude, the meaning runs out of my swept away again. Dude, the meaning runs out of my swept away again. I'm thinking to you, and we'll shine again. To you. Suddenly lost so empty. I'm thinking to you, and we'll shine again. To you. Suddenly lost so empty. I'm thinking to you, and we'll shine again. To you, suddenly lost so empty. The meaning runs out of my swept away again. I'm late to you. And we'll shine again. Late to you. Suddenly lost so late. I'm late to you. And we'll shine again. Late to you.
Sometimes in the deep dark hour, close to morning, I bring restless dreams to my piano, lose them in the music. As I move into the tune, how it frees me. I look for a friend or peaceful memory, find it in the music. As I play, any trace of sorrow fades away.
All right, Hiroshi Sato, and well, this is the Wendy's version of Blue and Moody music. That's Awakening, which is featuring Wendy Matthews. Kind of went over and worked with Hiroshi there. That's the Wendy and Wendy's version, not the $5 biggie bag like Mist is saying in the chat.
It would be cool if it was the $5 biggie bag version, because I get that a lot, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I can almost imagine some weird, like, really chill Wendy's ad playing this song in the background.
Yeah, totally.
The Blue and Moody blue cheeseburger. I don't know.
That's too funny.
All right. Yeah, so we're kind of in city pop mode right now. And I mean, I love Awakening. It's a great album.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you had some reason for putting that track in here too.
Yeah, definitely. So the reason why I chose it is just because from making future funk and stuff, you have to, I mean, you just through the process of just finding new city pop and stuff like that. And that it's just good music. So this is one of the songs that I've always wanted to sample, but it just wouldn't really work in like a song I wanted to do. And from that, it's just become one of my favorite songs of all time, because I just love the theme of, like, you know, it's about like making this music like at 3 a.m, and that's like my whole life. You know what I mean? So it's like a song I can relate to, like musician to musician. You know what I mean? So that's why I chose it. And then, you know, it's just, the song's immaculate. It's perfect. Really,
It is.
Yeah.
Great. Up next, we've got Taiko Onuki, and I just want to real quick say, I think the last time I had like this much city pop from a luxury mix was a Quip when he came on. So it's great to see some more city pop on the channel. This next one is Summer Connection. And what is your connection to this track?
Yeah, so again, this is probably it's tied for my first favorite city pop track. And it's just my favorite city pop song. Again, I've never sampled it just because it's like the song is already so perfect that I'm like, I'm too afraid to touch it. You know what I mean? But it just, the album cover is just, you know, Takeo just doing a little thing. I don't know, just everything about it is like so city pop and like just perfect. It's just, I like it a lot. And again, it's just another thing that like influences my music, even though I've actually never directly used it for a sample. Like the percussion and the way the song comes in, the vocals, all of it's just chef's kiss.
It's interesting. It's too pristine for you to touch.
Yeah, exactly. I know it's weird to say, but it totally is.
And we will be sort of moving, transitioning into the future funk side of things here after this track. So stay tuned if you're ready or you're in the mood for something more energetic.
にも優しいのは自信のない証拠さあの頃は無意識に気をつけてしまったね夢を見ているように街は彩りを変えても無邪気な面影僕の心を揺らすのさ I just can't find out how I can get you back, babe. You are behind the moon. Just can't find out. I never forget the day you told me back, babe. You are behind the moon. Just can't find out. I just can't find out how I can get you back, babe. You are behind the moon. Just can't find out. I never forget the day you told me back, babe. You are behind the moon. Just can't find out. I never forget the day you told me back, babe. You let me bleed red. 君は今誰に愛されてるんですか
Behind the Moon, which you could probably have guessed was the name of that track. That was Lord Sun and Nani Dato, which are two artists I hadn't heard of. Where's this track from? Is this like an older track?
Yeah, so Ax, this track in particular, so Lord Sun and Nani Dato, back in the day, I used to be in the Future Society Collective, which was like a future funk collective back in like 2015, I want to say, 2016. And I actually met, so they were both future funk producers. Lord Sun and Nani Dato actually were in the LA area, and we all went to Anime Expo together at the time. And so from there, like they started collaborating just from all three of us finally meeting IRL, like back in 2016 or 2015 or something like that. And yeah, they just came up with this great track. Lord Sun, he did future funk. He's now more into like the future bass, like kind of trap side of things, which I thought was why I brought the song here was the, this hip hop influence of like other SoundCloud music going on at the time and stuff like that he threw into future funk, which like, if I'm mistaken, wasn't really done before they started doing it. And Nani Dato like kind of came out of nowhere, killed it in the scene, and then just like disappeared out of nowhere, which is like, very vaporwave in itself. The fact that he like did like such a good stamp on the scene and became like really respected in the future funk scene and just like disappeared, and which is a bummer to me because I still want to talk to him. We were friends, but but yeah, it's one of my favorite future funk songs of like all time that again a lot of people don't know about. So that's why I was like, let's throw it in here.
Yeah, I really also love the way they use that like behind the moon thing. It's such like a subtle nod to the like Sailor Moon side of like future funk visuals and stuff. And before it, we had Sailor by Bluntside, which is another Sailor Moon themed track. Bluntside's an artist that I have heard before, and they're quite good. It's a short little one, but yeah, that's a nice one to include, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So the reason why I included that one was just, kind of transitioning from city pop to future funk. It's one of those like future funk songs where like they didn't do a lot, but just the feeling it created and like the match with the visuals of like, just how the song is like, I think I saw a YouTube comment once about like, or maybe it was on Twitter or something about like how even though vaporwave doesn't do a lot, it's still very transformative at the same time. And I think songs like, Sailor by Bluntside are like the perfect example of like, not a lot's going on here, but it's just something about it just feels different. It has a whole different vibe. I don't know. Even
very true. Yeah.
And it's another one of my favorite future funk songs just because it's like, I don't know, something about it. It makes me feel so happy every time. So
we've got like one more track that, depending on how you look at it, is future funk or a vapor. It's a future funk or a vaporwave classic, depending on how you look at it. It's St. Pepsi's Hit Vibes. This is better. One of the I would say one of the more memorable tracks from Hit Vibes, but like what's not a memorable track from Hit Vibes? Yeah. They're also catchy. Actually, yeah, how did you pick one track off Hit Vibes? How did you get this one?
To me, it's just maybe the most iconic off of like, so the way I got into like vaporwave in general was a lot of like just being an early artsy music person, just like being an early subscriber of artsy music. And I remember like around the time when they uploaded this, just the Michael Jackson doing the glitch thing is just like ingrained in my brain of like me moving in, going to college for the first time actually, and like moving in and just having that on the TV while we were like moving our stuff in and stuff and like cleaning up the house. So that's why I chose, just because I had like the most vivid memory of that song in the background. But also St. Pepsi's been such a big influence on me. And in fact, the reason why I got started doing music was because I was making beats one day, like hip hop beats. And then we were playing St. Pepsi, and then I like started playing around with some Whisper samples. And then I was like, oh, haha, like it's like a same Pepsi song. And my roommate was like, oh yeah. And then he came back and was like, oh wait, that's actually you. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm in FL right now. And he was like, oh shit. So then I was like, okay, maybe I could figure it out. And then just started playing with it. So just a huge inspiration on me. And it's just it's going to be, this song is a part of my life for the rest of my life, really. So I chose it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, here's one more time. I'm sure everyone's heard it, but everyone's still excited. Here's Better by Saint Pepsi.
again. There's something real to hold on to. I need you like oxygen. I need you. It's all so different now with you. There's magic again. Now with you, there's magic again. Get into my life, I learned so quickly that it's all so different with you. And if I could, I'd make every day special for you. Oh, you know I would.
And I've got plans for two. Though you're the kind of girl who likes to take her time with love, I'd gladly wait forever for you. But in the middle of the night, I know something ain't right. You've got something special, girl. Give it a try. Touching one night, girl. 3 nights of hugging makes it one night of love. One night of touching, one night, 2 nights of trust. 3 nights of hugging. I'm gonna wait, girl, if that's what it takes. One night of love. Oh, one night.
You got that love in your heart, and I've got love for you. But I'm the kind of guy who
Tupperwave with One Night from the classic To You Baby with Love that pretty much skyrocketed Tupperwave into popularity for vaporwave. Now he's out there with thousands of Twitter followers, planning a potential tour to the US, flying in all the way from Australia. I really hope it happens. That'd be the dream, seeing him live.
Definitely.
But,
yeah, I saw that today. I was so excited. I hope it works.
Yeah, so let's signal boost for that. Tupperwave is trying to, I think, raise money for that somehow, but follow.
Yeah.
You should definitely check that out. Follow his journey, see if he makes it. But
Yeah.
And before that we had Okadada with
Difference.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and kind of all these last few tracks have like almost the same like gated drums, but they're all used so differently. Like it's got this, they take that 80s like gated drum sound and then they like, do different ways to like side chain it or mix it in, or it's really interesting just putting those three together and listening to like, you've got like the Okadada's got like kind of the more like boomy like drums, and then Tupperwave's got them like really well side chained, so they're super like tight, and then St. Pepsi's just like smashing the mix, like they're just like driving the beat forwards and stuff, like so it's anytime those people are messing around with those drums, I get excited.
Yeah, same. Yeah, so if I may, you want me to talk about the inspirations behind the picks?
Sure.
Yeah. So Okadada I actually found before Future Funk. It was again just me digging through Bandcamp, but I wanted to put it in there because it was like one of those like something is happening on Bandcamp with like this dancey music that's really cool and sampling stuff, but like some people didn't know what to call it yet. You know what I mean? So this Okadada was like one of those. I actually put it in one of my skate videos I made back in high school of just like me starting to get that like, oh, okay, like that. I was making music at the time, like something. Just kind of like that early, like before it actually inspires you, like something's happening. You know what I mean? And then I chose Tupperwave because I had a bit of a hiatus in like 2016 after releasing an album. I started focusing more on my development career. And when I started coming back, I was like, well, let me catch up on the scene. Who's doing what? And then when I heard Tupperwave for the first time, I was like, oh my God. Because when I was in Future Society, I was like, okay, we all kind of did it. I think the Future Funk, we sampled the city pop, we sampled the other cultures, we did X, Y, and Z. And I was like, I feel like we kind of did what we wanted to do as like a bunch of college kids. And then to hear Tupperwave for the first time, just like go back to the fundamentals and make something so beautiful and like perfect. I was like, dude, like we weren't done yet. And Tupperwave was like the living example of like, oh no, you weren't done yet with that sound in 2016. And I personally think he's like one of the best right now, if not the best in like the whole future funk, vapor funk idea. You know what I mean? So that's why I chose it, because it's like here we are now, just like beautiful, just like immaculate music. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely had a lot of good memories associated with that track, One Night.
Mm-hmm.
Just it always just brings on good times. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got Obliv.
Yes.
Who has been on the show before, but only if you checked out the Vaporwave Home System episode. So for people not familiar, who's Obliv?
Oh yeah. So Obliv. So they're like just a low end hip hop. So I know there's like lo-fi, which is like the more slow down, but like low end, I call it that just because it comes from like that low end theory sound that was happening in like the 2010s of like just really like kind of trip hop. It's just really hard to put a finger on it, but like very soulful, very like what my friend calls it. He was also a hip hop head. Was like the type of beats that like break your neck when you try to like bop to them, just because they're so swung out and just like what is going on here. So I mentioned Obliv, or wanted to add Obliv because he's been a lot of my early music has been based on hip hop. It's just always been throughout everything I do. And Obliv was one of those like hip hop people where like even though I'm making future funk, I'm still listening to people like Obliv for like their drum work and how they're sampling and stuff, because it makes like a huge inspiration on me, but also it's just like good music. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like what I put on when I'm like driving in my car and stuff. So hope y'all like it.
Yeah. That's the best, when your like technical inspirations are also just like good bangers to listen to.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
So here we're gonna get in with Through the Rain.
There's no easy way to explain how I feel for you. Say with every emotion, I'm falling in love again. To my romantic heart,
Unheard message. First unheard message. Message.
You don't ever bring no drama to the game, and my drama don't be scaring you away. You don't ever talk too much, exactly just enough. You know how and when and where and what to say. It ain't ever bring no drama to the game, and my drama don't be scaring you away. You don't ever talk too much, exactly just enough. You know how and when and where and what to say. It ain't you was such a mess.
To delete this message, press
Oh girl, how does someone turn into you? 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 How you play, how you love every day, how you constantly the same, how you give, never hate, you never change, be consistently that way. You're a mad, sexy, cool girl, mad, sexy, cool girl, mad, sexy, cool girl, and I love you that way. You be rolling with a certain shade of cool. I don't know nobody half as fresh as you. I be checking your behavior, baby. You got so much flavor. Sometimes I wanna call you juicy fruit. Like I gotta tell you, you're a star. You be shining and be sparkling in the dark. Girl, you're so perfect. You my diamond in the rough. I know you gave me nothing else but love, 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 love. Know you gave me nothing else but love, love, love. You were such a mess, cool girl. How does someone turn to you, girl? How do you explain? Would you say how you consistently that way? You're a mess. How do you explain? You explain what you say. How you play, how you play, every day. Are you constantly the same? Never change, never change that way. You're a mess, sexy. You're a mad, sexy, cool girl, baby. How does someone turn You're a mess.
All these kisses and hugs and nah shit. You a damn drug, yeah. Toxic. Problematic. You know that dick always been problematic. Somehow I'm always calling your dramatics. All in your acrobatics. You know I want the static. Tell me to throw it backwards. And that damn Yahoo, you'll make me
Clams Casino. That was I'm God. Very quite the claim there from Clams Casino. And before that we had Toxic by Knowledge, not Britney Spears, different one. And then of course iClick with You're a Mess. Yes. That sweet 5 minutes of Plunderphonics Bliss from their new album. Got a lot to unpack here in these last few tracks.
Yes. So
I don't know where you want to start.
So we just listened to I'm God. So I'll start there. I'll go backwards because I think that's the kind of the order I like discovered them. So I chose I'm God because around the same time, again, getting into vaporwave, hip hop, I think was kind of heading that direction. Never quite stuck on it, but Clams Casino was a great, like, kind of like, you know, that ghosty vocal and that like really interesting sampling. And it was the reason why I found that song was because I was actually listening to a lot of Little B at the time, like the Bay Area Little B. So, and I, I still listen to Little B to this day. I really want to go see him, so I just chose it just because it's, again, another vaporwave-ish type thing that like there's something happening on the internet here. And Little B is an internet artist too, if you look into his history. And then before that is, you know, Knowledge, Toxic. Again, going back to the hip hop roots that I have a lot of. Knowledge, I actually didn't discover till like after I started making music, but the second I heard it, I was like, wow. And then again, you know, there's whispers of vaporwave and hip hop out there. And one thing I really like about Knowledge too is how he samples, is like the way he time stretches stuff. It's very unique. It has that like kind of like a, I don't know, like a type sample strategy to it. And it depends on like your DAW you're using and stuff like that. But it's because sometimes that like it has a specific sound. Sometimes I have done, even for my Future Funk, gone and I figured out how to do it through like some really weird like resampling, like you sample, time stretch it back, and then time stretch it again, like kind of like how you would export, like, you know, make an image smaller and then go ahead and make it bigger again to get those pixel effect. It's like that, but for audio. And it's something I hear in Knowledge's music a lot that I was like, let me bring this to Future Funk. So I do sometimes as well. But and then the last song is, you know, You're a Mess, iClick. I personally think Sex Line by iClick was top 10 albums of my life. It's just so good. As I explained to you during the break, it's just, I know probably just knowing Will and NRail, or, you know, Will Wade and NRail, and like through Discord servers or in real life with NRail. I know they're a bit younger than me, and I think for them, they might have got the inspiration through all this R&B and stuff through like maybe what MTV was doing back when they were younger. I know they definitely have nostalgia for it because, you know, R&B was big on MTV at the time. But for me, that's just like me 3 years old to about 16 was just my mom playing that music, my cousins playing that music, my family playing that music. I'm Black or African American, whatever you want to say. So that music to me, it's just like, to me, that's just like growing up. Like that album is just growing up. Like I can just imagine myself being on my aunt's house and my cousin's house. It's just life for me. So like when I, you know, and I think that's great because what vaporwave is nostalgia, invoking old memories and feelings, and that just invoked something in me that I didn't even know I really had. It was just like, you know, some things you just happen, you know, that's what life is. And I didn't realize it was like the music version of like, oh yeah, that's just how life is. You know what I mean? So it's, yeah, I just love that album so much. So I wanted to include it here. And just R&B in general. I think, you know, vaporwave, you have a lot of soul and disco elements. So I think it's good to like highlight that in different forms. In this case, hip hop and through vaporwave itself. So yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of hip hop, that's what we got here at the end of the mix. We've got some more hip hop influence stuff. Some great artists coming up here. Got in the next track, we've got Teamwork. This is kind of a Legend of Zelda, like Zelda Wave type thing, but you know, it's kind of more on the hip hop side than on the Zelda Wave side. But let's go ahead and dive in to that as we get into the end of tonight's mix.
melodies, melodies, melodies. Hearing these melodies, 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 melodies.
Ooh, look at that car. When I grow up, that's gonna be my car.
Yeah, nigga, that same rusty ass car 15 years from now.
Damn, look at this yellow car this big ass nigga driving.
That shit buck. Looking like a number 2 pencil with tires.
That's my car! I said it first. That's my car. You ain't gonna put no hoe.
Light as a feather when I'm floating through, reading through the daily news, measuring the hurt within the golden rule. Centimeters of ether, I'm heating the speaker. Motivational teacher with words that burn people. Singing the headlines, line with discord. It's either genocide or the planet in uproar. Never good. The rules in paradise are never nice. The best laid plans of mice and men are never right. I'm just a vagabond with flowers for Algernon, an average Joe who knows what the fuck is going on. It's the hope of my thoughts that I travel upon. Fly like an arrow of God until I'm gone. So drifting away like a feather in air, letting my words take me away from the hurt and despair. So I'm keeping it vertical, forever elevator, riding the escalator to the something that is greater. So I'm drifting away like a feather in air, letting my soul take me away from the hurt and despair. So I'm keeping it vertical, forever elevator, riding the escalator to the something that is greater.
Taking chances, word tap dancing with wolves in the ice arena out there deep in the woods of Arizona. The sun be out, life's ironic, ain't it? Trying to be Dali when I write surreal life, I painted vivid. Habitat crazy, insane. Watching propaganda, 6 o'clock news and insane. Cultures clash, all black folk and white trash. They rebel in the cyberspace that might crash. Dash to millennium, a million miles are running. At the speed of now, bound no return gunning. Rambo style gun, old child gunning. Ambo plow 2 times loud, stunning. Stunning when they hit ya, lift you off the earth like, hey yo, take you right back to earth. And niggas wonder why, they might wonder why this shit might happen, but it does. It go
Drifting away like a feather in air, letting my words take me away from the hurt and despair. So I'm keeping it vertical, forever elevator, riding the escalator to the something that is greater. So I'm drifting away like a feather in air, letting my soul take me away from the hurt and despair. So I'm keeping it vertical, forever elevator, riding the escalator to the something that is greater. Treat you better than me, cause that's the heavenly key to unlock the inner strength. What my essence will be, it's the knowledge of self, understanding of the things around me that becomes the wisdom that I need. Living this life to the best of my ability, channeling energy to my thoughts and teen symmetry. Remember me, because my prose remain gold. I got the gift of gab like them pimps and Kangos. It never ends, I keep it rolling like a cipher. The first caveman bringing fire, innovating it higher to plasma states. I raise the stakes, it's double or nothing in this vacuum of space. I will survive divine to time to cry. Fuck a hold or hide, I'm alive for pride.
against eating, and one of the things I'd like to point out right away is I don't recommend fasting.
You have it right there. That's Mind Sign. Just Air does not recommend fasting. Don't know if you've ever tried that, Groovy, but
No, I have not. Yeah, that's a very interesting concept album too. If you listen to whole Breatharian.
oh really?
So-
What's the concept?
Yeah, so the concept album is it's called Breatharian because I guess there was a cult back in the 80s or early 90s of a bunch of people who felt that like food, and I think only food, like you didn't need to eat to survive, like the air and like the nutrients of the earth would keep you alive. So they would oftentimes go on the news and be like, yeah, I haven't eaten in like 3 months and like stuff like that. And like, oh, you know, I eat sometimes because like I, you know, like the taste of stuff, but like for the most part, I don't eat. I don't need it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And the concept album has lots of snippets of like interviews with breatharians, and a lot of it's like the album sounds very airy because of that whole concept. You know what I mean? It's just a really good, like, dope hip hop album. I would highly recommend it to anyone. And it's another just Bandcamp find I found early on, and now I'm like the biggest Mind Design fan. So yeah,
That's sick. I love concept albums. I might check that out.
yeah, I highly recommend it. Yeah.
And before
then,
that, we had good old New Habes.
Yeah. So that's just so I'll tell two stories, but yeah, all that is just, you know, then just internet music. You know what I mean? Like I think everyone has come across like something by New Jabez and all that in the past, just by going on YouTube or got recommended to them, and that's just kind of like probably was the start of like my internet music of like, oh wow, there's like music I can only really get a hold of through the internet because, you know, it's all based out of Japan and stuff, so you had to like go on YouTube to listen to it. And the funny story is actually I just did a show last night with Alex Dillon at Pacific Plaza, and Mittens, who also played the show, who's like really big in the internet music scene. He actually has a New Jabez tattoo on his wrist, like the metaphorical music thing. And I was like, dude,
wow.
no way. Or let's say New Jabez logo tattoo. Did I say tattoo or did I just? I
said
probably. Yeah. Okay, cool. I think my brain was going 2 steps at a time, but yeah. So just like he's also an internet musician, like I mean, a lot of us are. And it's just so cool to see them like immortalize that, you know what I mean, on themselves. So yeah, dope track.
Yeah. And we had Flowers by Jay Dilla. That one's a really like lo-fi hip hop to me.
Oh yeah. So I think Jay Dilla is just, again, since we're going through this whole hip hop mix, Jay Dilla I think is I think anyone who's ever made a beat ever has to like at least give some credit to Jay Dilla. Maybe even Jay Dilla and Jabez, both of them, but especially Jay Dilla. I've just watched so many different documentaries and stuff like that, and I don't like try to like copy anyone's style, but I can list off at least maybe 3 to 4 things that I do on every single song that like are directly from something I learned in like a Jay Dilla documentary. And I listen to his music. I have so much of his vinyl. Like he's just a legend. It's kind of sad that we lost him so early, but you know, he's amazing. And that's also something, while we're just here, if you make music, I highly recommend watching Rhythm Roulette and all types of different documentaries, because even as a vaporwave artist, there are some things you can learn a lot about percussion from watching hip hop artists do their work and them talking about what they're doing, because you know, they really are, you know, I guess the OG samplers. So like they learned a lot of cool stuff. So I think us as internet musicians can learn a lot from them, like all the 90s, like, you know, boom bap dudes.
Yeah, vaporwave has a lot of crossover with hip hop.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
Totally. Like another quick one too is I know Jay Dilla, for example. He's kind of famous from what's another one? Oh yeah. So one of my hot takes in music is I was watching a Rhythm Roulette with Black Milk, and he said that the most important thing in a song is the drums. Like you need to make sure every drum is clearly heard. And I was like most people like the melody or the lyrics, are like really the drums. And like all of my best songs and all my songs that are my favorite now are the songs that I like made sure you heard every individual drum like as clearly as possible. Like it's like one of those things that you don't notice, but your brain does. And it's, I don't know. I learned that from hip hop that I apply to all my music across every genre.
Yeah, it goes back to Tupperwave and St. Pepsi. Like those guys do drums, and they do drums well.
Exactly.
Makes a difference.
Yep. Yep. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually do talk about drums a decent bit on this show. When I hear good drums, I make sure to point that out. I love drums.
Oh.
But speaking of crossover of vaporwave and hip hop, our last track of the night, we've got DJ Screw, Chopped and Screwed. That like, I mean, it pretty much is vaporwave. Like when you listen to it, like it's vaporwave is Chop and Screw, I should say. You know, that's
yes, yeah, I 100%
that is like the technique.
I 1000% agree. And me personally, I've always had a weird relationship with like chopped and screwed music because I've never actually seeked it out until recently, actually. But just growing up, listening to hip hop and just probably like a big inspiration of mine is my buddy. He would throw a lot of chopped and screwed music in his skate videos. So there was 2 filmers in my hometown skating, and from that, I just kind of had a lot of hip hop or chopped and screwed music in my life through other people, funnily enough. And it wasn't until I found vaporwave that I really dug into it. And now, it's just kind of those like, how, when you think about like, how did I get into vaporwave and stuff like that? It's like, then when I think back, I'm like, it's probably all that chopped and screwed music I listened to. And vaporwave was just the right internet twang that like clicked the button in my brain, maybe. But so I just want to give like, and the mix out with just like, giving, I guess credit to like the people who were doing it before us, really, and really like set the groundwork for us to like do vaporwave today on like the internet and stuff like that. So yeah, shout out DJ Screw.
Yeah, and shout out
Rest
to
in peace,
skate
yeah.
videos. You can find a lot of good music from skate videos.
Oh yeah. Yes.
That just gave me $1 million idea. You know how people do like mall soft in like different environments and stuff?
Mhm.
Well, there needs to be a skate park soft album where it's like you got like the like, skating wheels like in the background, and like you got like the sound of like people doing kick flips and like, in the like, yeah, that it sounds skidding like knee pads or whatever, like all the sounds you hear at the skate park like in the background of some like, that would be an insane concept album, I think.
So I 100% agree. I mean, if I may, I did a little song called For My First Love, which was a song about my first love, which was skateboarding. And the whole intro and throughout the song, I have a bunch of skateboarding sounds in it. And definitely, I mean, I don't want to be like, oh, I thought of it, but I agree with you 1000%, like totally. In fact, one thing I really want to make that I just haven't had the time yet, or maybe someone else please make it, because it's just good music, hopefully. I want to somehow make a song that like captures the feeling of landing a trick. I don't know how to do that yet, but that feeling of just grinding so hard on something and then just landing it, and that like sense of relief, happiness, like accomplishment, like how do you, there's just, it's a swarm of feelings that when you finally land something that I wouldn't know how to replicate in music yet, but that's like one of my goals is how do I make like skateboarding genre.
That's a really fascinating goal.
Album. Yeah, so maybe one day we'll get there, but who knows if it'll be a vaporwave or not. But so yeah, all in all, I agree, and hopefully, I guess this is on the air. Let's collab on that together.
Yeah.
You're down.
All right,
cool.
Here, let's hop into DJ Screw. My Mind Went Blank, featuring Point Blank.
Take a walk through this jungle, and you can follow me all the way to shop. here you go. You got me all physical. Now I'm in court trying to tell the judge that I'm a lyrical freight train. Gotta maintain game in this free world. Life is changed, nothing stays the same, but I make your head twirl. You really don't know me, Your Honor. To make the story short, in the end, I'm a gunner. You move, you lose in the game I'm in. I'm searching for my come up. Life's a melting pot, no one point blank, I'ma put his gun up. Outsiders try to read me, but they don't know me. Point blank, label my lifestyle OG. Cook County, Chicago, and Houston. South Park, Reckless Clan, I'm boosted. To be frank, let me hit the deck before you take me to the tank. All I think, my mind went blank. It's hard to think when my mind goes blank. You just can't think when your mind goes blank. It's hard to think when my mind goes blank. You just can't think. My mind went blank. It's hard to think when my mind goes blank. You just can't think when your mind goes blank. It's hard to think when my mind goes blank. You just can't think. My mind went blank. Briggity, break it on down to the lowest terms. You best believe I'm a clown on this hellified track that can't dope hooked up. I came in and dropped the vocals, and Icy did the cut. Now we gon' freak it the way it's supposed to be freaked. So when I speak, don't be afraid to say that other track weak. Over the streets I hear things like point blank a trick. The same mouth became out the same mouth that I hit. Oh, did I tell you how I knock jocks in the dirt? I let them play hate in my face and then I hit them where it hurt. Yeah, you damn fools spread my business through the hood, and I'm here to let you know that it ain't all good. You came to the hospital to cheer brother up. Soon as you left, we through the hood and tried to tell my name up. But I'm finna set it straight and up to date what really went on. I tried to kill myself, fool, so to me wasn't that wrong. So next time you wanna be a Howard Cosell, go run and tell the hood how my brother 38 finish up your girl. I ain't thin on the fin, I'm laughing all the way to the bank. This goes forever, forgive never, my mind went blank. It's hard to think when my mind goes blank. You just can't think when your mind goes blank. It's hard to think when my mind goes blank. You just can't think when your mind goes blank. It's hard to think when my mind goes blank. You just can't think when your mind goes blank. It's hard to think when my mind goes blank. You just can't think when your mind goes blank.
Mind went blank. That's pretty much me at this point. Pretty tuckered out. We both were up late for various show-related reasons. Yeah, you had a concert last night. I went to a concert last night. But yeah, crazy stuff.
I'm exhausted.
But we're still putting on this show for you guys. Thanks everyone who's here listening, chilling in the chat, and enjoying these tunes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, anyone who's still here. I appreciate y'all coming so much, and I hope you like the tunes. Yeah.
This was a super awesome mix, and I found new artists. That's what I love to see in these luxury mixes, getting new people in my palette and hopefully in everyone else's. And just enjoying, St. Pepsi and Tupperwave and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and thank you for having me on, by the way, dude. It's been great talking to you. I know we talk in between the music as well, so it's been really good to get to know you. Even on top of the music and stuff. I don't know. I'm thankful. Thank you.
No, it's been great, man. It's been a good time.
Yeah.
Love talking to you. Love hearing all your thoughts on these songs and your experiences, man. This is, I'm sure this has been a great show for everyone. But now that we're here at the end, just if there's anything you want to shout out, if you got any stuff coming up, if you've got friends with stuff coming up, like here, let everyone know.
I can shout stuff out. Yeah. So actually, I do have something to shout out. So for the past few months, I've been working on a little, I call it the Kaiju Club. It's a little email fan club thing. And if you join it, I send you an EP of like exclusive music that I'm doing only for like fan club people. And I also have a new like collective thing I started called Oceanfront Online, which has like a new exclusive album on it, like 10 tracks and everything. So that's probably the biggest thing I'd shout out. But if you really just want to keep in touch with me, either you probably just the Kaiju Club is the best thing right now, and I'm sure we can add links to it later or something. That and working with Pacific Plaza a lot. I appreciate those people so much, Alex and all of them. We're doing lots of shows. I have another show coming up in November, and we would just doing monthly stuff with them. And probably the most immediate thing I'd want to shout out, I know I said it last, but I have a show on Saturday in Mesa, Arizona with the VA 10 Association. So if you ever like my music, or if you just want to hang out with a bunch of vaporwave people that are really cool, come out to that if you're in the area. And yeah, that's probably what I want to shout out. And I want to shout out you because you've been amazing, and please keep watching Luxury Mixes because this is a lot of fun.
You're so welcome, and thank you for the kind words. Gonna go ahead and wrap it up here, but everyone, you can find Groovy Kaiju in the description. I'll add in the links to that new label he's got. But you can find his Twitter, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, all down there if you want more Groovy Kaiju content. You've also been on Hot Takes podcast, am I right, recently?
I haven't yet, but I'm supposed to very soon. The host of Hot Takes right now is downstairs in my apartment. So
okay, yeah, I was gonna say I think I heard I heard Shiro talking about you being on Hot Takes, but I couldn't remember if that happened yet. Okay, so it's
coming up. Yeah,
probably coming up too. So follow Hot Takes podcast. They're great, super insightful. If you want to, hear about not only what's going on in vaporwave, but just some big brains in the scene. It's really cool. You'll learn about music and all sorts of stuff. It's not just about vaporwave; it's about all the hot takes.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's what we got for you. And just a couple announcements from my side of things. Next week we've got a show on Wednesday night, first week of the month, and we've got a bonus thing happening. So next Saturday, I'm going to be doing a charity stream for Extra Life. I did this last year as well. It's basically a gaming marathon. I'll be playing video games on Twitch. Haven't quite decided what game. Last year we played Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 for 8 hours straight. Built a shopping mall instead of a roller coaster theme park. So it was a great time, and I think we're gonna have a good time this year too. And we'll be raising money for the local children's hospital. So it's all in all a great time, and I hope all of you can make it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, send me a link to that over the DMs.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. So got to shout that out. That'll be next Saturday. But
cool.
With that, I want to thanks Groovy Kaiju one more time for providing the tunes for tonight, and I hope everyone has a luxurious night. Thanks for listening.